Hey everybody, and welcome to a special edition of a random Spring Fling match coverage. I'm Michael Hoyp. I'm joined today by Flint Espil. Say hi, Flint.
Hi, everybody.
All right, so we are covering one of the matches that you played in the Spring Fling because I proposed a challenge to you, Mike Arnold, and Ryan Gritsitsky, and that challenge was build a deck around Smokestack and play it in the Spring Fling. And
Build me a smokestack deck worthy of Mordor, I think were your exact words.
Yes, I had a deck in mind when I gave this challenge to Flint, and this is pretty close to what I originally submitted. You had made some few tweaks, but do you want to talk about the general strategy of this lovely deck?
Yeah, so if you're going to live the dream with this deck, you basically want to resolve a Cataclysm with a Spirit Mirror and a smokestack in play because you basically just lock the opponent out of the game. But it does have the other prison elements to it in terms of your basic Tangle Wires, your Winter Orbs, your Mox Diamond Land Axe combo. There is the Swords to Plowshares for a little bit of damage control. Humility as a way to recognize creatures in the larger format, and then good old Nasty Masty, everybody's favorite artifact creature in the format. And of course, like any good artifact deck, we want to take advantage of the soul lands. So we have a full suite of Ancient Tombs and City of Traitors. And then, of course, we have the double white soul land as well, which in hindsight, I probably would cut. I mean, if I were going to try to run this back and modify some of the cards in it, I certainly think that would be one thing I would do. But I don't know if you want to talk more about that later.
Yeah, I will say that any deck list with exactly three Bindstone is either really good or really not good, and we'll find out more about this deck, I guess.
Should we say the deck's record?
We'll leave that. Maybe we'll spoil that at the end. So
All right, sounds good.
we'll jump over to the opponent that you played, and so this was during the Swiss, so you didn't know what your opponent was on, but you played Chris Ford, and he was playing the Rock. So if you're been playing Premodern, you're probably pretty familiar with this deck. I'll just point out the things that are maybe a little bit different. So there's a couple copy of Trader's Edict, which I don't usually see. There's one copy of Diabolic Edict, which I see a little bit more, but not that much more than Trader's Edict. And then there are three copies of Spirit Monger, which is cool. I don't think it's optimal, but I mean that people have different goals, and Spirit Monger is a sweet nostalgia card. I If you want to play it, sure. I just think there are better cards than the Spirit Monger. And then the other thing to note is there are Birds of Paradise in this deck as compared, and a couple of Fyndhorn Elves as compared to a lot of lists I've seen lately have Wall of Roots. Um, I don't think you had ever seen this exact list, so just glancing at it, is there anything that stands out to you, Flint?
I think Spirit Monger is the main thing. Obviously, with some of the other creatures in the format, and for the Rock, usually Ravenous Baloth it tends to be a four of, and looking at Chris's list here, it looks like is he just running? He's running those four, but how many Blastoderms does he have?
He
Is
doesn't
he
have any Blastoderms. He has the just has three Spirit Mongers. So
okay? So that probably comes back to haunt him a little bit, but some folks won't run birds, and some folks will run the wall package instead, the wall of roots and the wall of blossoms. It's kind of a meta call, kind of a player preference. When I run rock, I run the wall suite instead of the birds, but that's just me. But it looks like a pretty standard list for the most part.
yeah. All right. So we will jump over to our match. We have everything.
Wait a
We're
minute. Wait a minute. Is that a Necrotol in the sideboard?
Yes. There's both a Necrotal and a Faceless Butcher. So
I love that. These cards are so nostalgic. All
yeah.
right, sorry, continue.
Yeah, so we've got things set up and we've got our replay. We've got it at 2x speed so we can zip along, and let's start things off. So for this, you oh, it just kind of skipped ahead. So you played a Mox Diamond and a land tax. You were on the play. Both players kept seven, and so this is a pretty good start for you.
Yes, definitely is.
Yeah, Cabal Therapy. I guess you just put your opponent on Pink Prison, and I don't know what card you would name in the dark. It's always tough. I guess
Yeah,
it's certainly not Spirit Mirror. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I don't remember what he named, but I think he did put me on perhaps a prison variant, but he didn't name Scroll Rack. So if I remember correctly, I got pretty lucky here.
Okay. Just bring up my card fetcher. Okay. So we are rolling. The plains are in your hand. There's no mountains to get in your deck. I thought you submitted a list with snow covered plains, by the way. Those do not look like snow covered plains.
Yeah, I think I audibled and got fancy at the last minute to run the Urza Saga foils.
Oh.
The arena ones.
Okay. So he took a damage for his Cabal therapy, which he missed. And you get 3 extra cards, and then you're going to be playing Rolric, right? Okay. So I guess it worked out that it took me a while to get things set up because it looked like it took you guys a while. I don't know what you guys were talking about, but
so I don't know if folks have played Chris. Chris has been around in Premodern for a while now. I played him when I first started a couple of years ago in Premodern, and super nice guy. And it was funny because he his kid was asking him for things periodically while he was playing, and it was really cute. But there are some pauses I think in the video where he's answering some questions or helping his son out. So.
Okay. I was gonna say that he's probably looking up the Oracle text or something on Spirit Mirror. That's what I would have guessed. Okay, and so he has a Wall of Blossoms. So you're pretty sure what he's playing at this point, just given by his first 2 turns.
Yeah, he's clearly on PT junk.
Yeah, I guess the one thing I would be like pretty scared about from your end is Pernicious Deed is a card that is kind of hard for you to play against. Like if it comes down, I guess you have a Seal Cleansing, but the way your deck works is you want to put like permanents into play, and Pernicious Deed is a good answer for that.
Yeah, and the deck also had this weird tension of wanting to play permanents but not wanting to play permanents because Cataclysm, obviously gets rid of a lot of permanents, but you need them for the Smokestack. And I don't know. As I played through this deck, it felt really clunky at a lot of time points in my games. But again, if we get into sort of how we might revamp it, we can talk a little bit more about that.
All right, so I'll bring up Remote Farm. That might be one that people are not familiar with, but it's the Mercadian Mass Cycle where you get 2 uses out of it, but it adds 2 mana each time. So. All right, so he has another Cabal therapy. So he did take the Spirit Mirror, right, with the flashback, and now he's casting another Cabal therapy.
Yeah.
You've got a juicy hand. I guess Rolrack and Lantax are doing some work at least.
They absolutely are.
All right, so he's committing a birds and then flashing back so he can get rid of a Tangle Wire. So he's kind of had to use like a good amount of resources just to kind of keep you from taking over, I guess.
He definitely has, but the problem is I still do have the tax rat combo in play. So I mean, he really just needs a pernicious deed here, which obviously I'm well aware of. But the advantage is definitely on my end at this point.
Right.
1 of 3 Mind Stones.
Undo. Okay. I like how I was gonna say. I like how you untapped your Remote Farm and then added a counter, 1 up to 3 counters. That's the way to get the best use out of that. So
the oldest farm.
There's some fertilization going on with that farm.
Yes.
Right. So ideally, the situation you would have wanted is you get to play Spirit Mirror and then you get to cast. I guess you don't have the Smokestack here, Oh, you did. You did. You had the Smokestack and then Cataclysm, and then pretty much there you get to make a permanent every turn. They have to sack a permanent every turn. You can progress your board, and they are falling behind.
Yeah. So
But
now he's played a pernicious deed here.
so,
So
what is your plan now?
I mean, pretty much scoop at this point, right?
Well, you could. I mean, at this point, you could enlighten tutor for seal cleansing, right?
So I can enlighten tutor for soul cleansing. I could always, if I'm feeling super froggy, I could just cataclysm here. Um, Looks like I end up with the soul cleansing plan. I do have the backup land tax in my hand, right? So he's obviously going to pop it for one in response to get my land tax, but I can just replay another one.
Yeah, that or that card closest to your phone in the land is an ancient tomb.
Yeah.
Looks a little bit different thanks to some altars that you had done.
Yes.
Okay, so seal of cleansing takes out the pernicious deed, so a sigh of relief for the white deck.
But for how long?
Yeah, I don't know.
Until the next deed comes down.
You do have the smokestack at one. I don't know if you're. I guess you kind of awkward if you ever tick it up to two. So, all right. So you're firing off a cataclysm here.
Yep.
Okay, so we got a land, which you keep an ancient tomb. Okay, I guess since you have land tax, and he keeps a city brass, which gets sacked. Okay. So he's in a fun spot. It's always fun facing down a smokestack. I guess I mean like at this spot you probably just draw go. Like it seems real bad just to play land into the land
Yeah.
tax smokestack. Yeah, and I guess the awkward thing here is for you, um, is if he's not committing resources, are you supposed to commit more resources or not? Because you're not able to like push any advantage really. Okay, here's a scroll rack, so here's a little bit, but um, basically you're sacking a permanent every turn, and he's not. I mean, he's not developing, but I'll update your life total. You're at 16. He's at 17, I believe. Hard to tell with your phone.
Yeah, so at this point, I feel like I have enough of an advantage. I have the tax rack assembled with a Mox Diamond in play. I have a land that's not going to be there indefinitely, and so I just sack the smokestack and try to rebuild to a position that's advantageous.
Yeah, and I guess the downside is likely that Chris has like if he had lands that he was like drawing, probably wasn't playing them earlier, so he might. I mean, I don't know if he wants to trigger land tax, but he might have lands to play. But I guess looks like he's discarding cards, so maybe I'm wrong. Right, he's got a Fyndhorn Elves, so he's staying under your land tax. Oh, you have a Tangle Wire. So to push his advantage, are you just like trying to get to Masticore? Is that I guess the easiest way to do things, or
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, my plan was get a Masticore and try to race him out, or if the game goes long enough, there's always the Spirit Mirror route as well.
okay? And he did discard a Treetop Village, so it looks like he's not willing to break your or activate your land tax.
No, but at this point, right, I've got the city and um, am able to get rid of the remote farm. So that the City of Traitors certainly is a land that can go away if needed, but it still is going to provide me with enough mana to do most of the things that I want to do in the deck.
All right. So after you add a smokestack, Chris now plays a Volrath Stronghold, so you get to trigger your land tax. So you're a happy man.
I very much am. That's another one of the tension pieces with this deck too. Is you don't want to play too many lands, so you can continue to trigger land tax, but you also want to have permanents in play for the smokestack.
Mhm. All right, we have Enlightened Tutored for Spirit Mirror. The
There he is, living the
tale
dream.
tale as old as time. So this lock seems pretty sweet. I guess if he is able to get like a pernicious deed like right away, then maybe he has a shot. But other than that, it does not look good for him. All right, he's got a duress. You have a Winter Orb and a Plains. And then another Fyndhorn Elf. Okay. I guess he still has like the out of being able to play Pernicious Deed, I guess.
He does. Yep. But he's got to sack a permanent, and even if he plays another land, it's going to be hard for him to get to 5 mana to get rid of the smokestack. But he could wipe the land tax and the Mox Diamond, which is obviously very brutal for me in this situation.
What did you use as spirit tokens? I don't know if I saw it earlier. Did you have anything special? Anything spicy? Or,
I
or
think I was just using my unglued rock lobster,
okay.
Caesar's lizard, but just turned the other way.
A reflection token. That's what it is, not spirit token. I gotta get it right.
Yes.
Right.
And there's
Oh,
a deed, and
there
he
is a
does
deed.
get the diamonds.
Okay. So it blows up 3 Mox Diamonds. And your Tangle Wire goes away. You have to discard. Oh, so you get a land tax. And then you have to discard. Oh, do you only have one?
So far.
You only have one
Yeah.
planes left? Okay.
Yeah, so that's the other problem with this deck is it just doesn't run enough basics,
I
right?
think you have
I
8.
mean,
Is that. Yeah.
8. And if you look at like prison lists and some of the larger ones, they run way more basic lands than that. So I think I would cut the remote farms for planes if I were going to run this again.
Okay, so the Masticore and the Spirit, or the Reflection token, crash in. Makes a Bird of Paradise. Also, if you have. I mean, your Masticore is pretty good against him making like elves and birds, so. You sacrificed land tax there
Yep.
instead of the
We're
token.
out of planes in the deck. I want the damage from the token. So
Shoot down the bird and then attack for 6. Okay, he sacrifices Fyndhorn Elves. He's gonna get one last look at your hand, I think.
yep, and he did get the Cataclysm.
All right, and then looks like we're moving on to game 2. All right, so I'm gonna jump over to our sideboard. So given that you're playing against the Rock, I guess the one card we definitely want to bring in is the Karmic Justice. That card's very good against Pernicious Deed. Are there any other cards that you're excited to bring in against the Rock?
Cursed Totem, very good against the elves and the birds and the elders and the master. Pretty much most all creatures in his deck have some kind of an activated ability, except for maybe Wall Blossoms. So I think that's good here. And also Zuran Orb, just to be able to manipulate land tax a little better, I think is good. I also like Aura of Silence because it makes Pernicious Deed cost 5. So it's a little harder for them to run it out as fast. Obviously, they have the mana rocks to help them do that, but it still can slow down the clock long enough to where if they get the mana to finally play it, they can't activate it and take out some of the higher casting cost permanents that you have right away.
Okay, we'll jump over. We'll look at Chris's list. I'm guessing 2 Naturalize are coming in, 2 Atabi Orangutan. The other cards don't look like they're necessary. What would I take out? Maybe like Chainer's Edict is a card like kind of awkward because you don't have that many creatures, and if you do have like the Spirit Mirror, it's like really bad. So I might take out 2 of those, and then I might take out like 2 Spirit Mongers. I don't know. They just seem like it's hard to get to 5 mana, but
yeah,
I don't know. I guess if you ever do, like if you're just able to like turbo out a Spirit Monger, it's like you can Cataclysm. Sure, I'll just keep this 6/6. So I don't know. We'll see if we can figure out what happens, but we'll jump back over to the match, and we'll start things off right away. So game 2, both players are keeping 7, and Chris starts things off with a duress. So you reveal Mox Diamond, Masticore, Humility, Tangle Wire, Enlightened Tutor, and then a Plains and an Ancient too. So
correct.
it's like a pretty good hand for you. Okay, Enlightened Tutor is what he takes. Alright, so you just play a Plains and then pass.
Yeah. I think my thinking is I wanted to be able to play a Tangle Wire just to slow things down a little bit.
Okay, reset the life totals.
Unfortunately, it does get naturalized.
Okay. Now he's got a Cabal Therapy. And since he knows, okay, so he's taking Humility. I guess that makes sense.
Yep.
That's pretty good against all his little mana dorks, and I mean it's good against all his creatures, I guess. So.
Yep.
Did you get to cast Humility much in this tournament?
I think I cast it a couple times in some matches.
I guess the one thing that's nice about like this list is you can kind of run it out on like turn 3 with like an Ancient Tomb or a Humility, and well, like the typical blue-white control list has to spend 4 mana on a later turn, where like 3 you might be able to take on turn 3 you might be able to take the turn off of just not impacting the board or that significantly. So preemptively playing a Humility might be decent in some matches.
And you can see here, I don't have the tax rat combo, but I searched for a Karmic Justice because it is just that good in this matchup. And I learned from a play mistake that I had made in one of, I think it was Jared's one-day tournaments. Not the second one he did, but the first one he did, the first Fall Brawl. I was playing Aaron Dix, and he was on The Rock, and I was on Terrageddon, and I searched for a tax rack piece instead of a Karmic Justice, and the game would have gone completely differently had I done the latter, and I ended up losing. And just recognizing against Rock how important Karmic Justice really is can go a long way in these matchups.
Right. Well, we get to see it go. So is he just popping it right now? I guess he's got to destroy 2 permanents. That's not so bad for him, I guess.
Not too bad for him.
Yeah.
But
I guess like the longer he waits, then there's just gonna get more problematic. So
absolutely.
okay, so where are we at right now? Your
This
phone.
may be another one of those scenarios where he had to attend to one of his kiddos.
Is that your phone's no longer on the table? So I'm thinking that you maybe. Okay. I probably need to
Something up there too.
update the life total. So you're at 16.
Yeah. He went to go check with his kiddo, and I think I was, I don't know, probably on Discord or something.
Is he at 16 as well? What did he take damage from? Was he at like 19?
He's got a Llanowar Wastes there.
Okay, I'll put him at 19.
It looks like he might be at 19.
It's hard. Well, also like I have it. I don't know if I have it up backwards on screen. On the actual. Okay. Yeah, it is 19. Yeah, on the screen that I'm looking at, it has it like flipped, like so it's backwards, so it's even harder to read.
Yeah.
Okay, Enlightened Tutor, you're getting a land tax.
Let's try it
And
again.
so the Cabal Therapy resolves, and he names a Masticore that he knew about, and you safely put your land tax on top of your deck.
Yes.
Then he uses a Fyndhorn Elves to take out a Mox Diamond. Okay.
Yeah, he's really just he's tearing my hand apart and my board state apart, but he doesn't have any pressure, right? Which is the issue here. I mean, I
Yeah.
think if he had a Baloth in play, or if he was running Blastoderms or something, even a Yavimaya Elder, just something, because we've gone through a couple turns here. I think that he'd be in a much better spot. But we're really just trading cards, and not much is happening in the game itself.
Oh man, I just Yavimaya Elder against your smokestack. This is pretty funny.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great.
All right, so we see a Cataclysm. You keep an Ancient Tomb. He just gets to keep Llanowar Wastes.
If you want to talk really feel bad, I don't know if I sent you this video, but I played against Brian Durkin and he was on Reanimator, but he led with Undiscovered Paradise, and I had a land tax and he was on the play, and I was just like, great. Well, I can never trigger this land tax now. And he couldn't draw any other lands, so we had this weird position where he was like playing Putrid Imps and other things with his Undiscovered Paradise.
All right.
And it was always going back to his hand, and I could never trigger my tax. It was really frustrating.
Well, I guess there's many oftentimes that Undiscovered Paradise goes along with the land tax, so I guess it's only fair that you get to taste your own medicine.
Agreed. Agreed. I got my just rewards.
All right, so we got some land tax triggers after he plays a Volras Stronghold. You add a land. Okay. So yeah, you're not really doing anything either, so I guess he's got a little bit of time to find some threats.
Yeah.
Okay, another Cataclysm. So he's tapping mana. Oh, he's Volras Strongholding. Okay. So he'll take a damage to put Llanowar Elves back on top. Yeah, that exchange for him seems actually okay. Great, he goes down to 17. And you got a Swords to Plowshares for that one.
Always swords the elf. Is that the expression?
Yeah. Well, especially, well, I guess the Volras Stronghold's gone, but seems nice to exile that card. Did you not give him a life? You didn't give him a life for your Swords to Plowshares.
Oh shoot.
I think it gets corrected later,
Okay.
but I think it's funny, like the number of times, and I'm not always right about life totals, but like whenever I'm doing commentary on stuff, I'm always like in disagreement with life totals. So
Well, when you and I are doing commentating, it's my job, so it's usually my fault in those instances. But I won't speak for when you're doing commentary with others.
then I just get like so hung up on it. I'm like, I should just leave it. But
Is it 26 or 27?
I mean, especially in this case, there's literally nothing we can do about it. So all right, so Tangle Wire's been added, but he's got a number of permanents. So
Yeah.
he's got a birds and a wall and then some land. So he's still able to do some stuff with it. Duress shows a handful of lands. Yeah, that's a confident swivel in your chair. I saw it.
It's more of a fidget, I think, but take
Right.
confidence swivel. Yeah, I mean, I think the more I played this deck too, the more I would just wish that I had Armageddons instead of Cataclysms, given that I wanted to keep, a lot of permanence for Smokestack or just to continue my engine. And this obviously there are situations where Cataclysm is better, but this is just another scenario where it really stands out. Where if I had an Armageddon, sure he has a bird, but I'm just still so far ahead.
Mhm. Okay. Ooh, we see the love monkey.
I believe it is technically an ape, sir.
Well, I can't.
The orangutan itself, or are you referring to the monkeys in the background?
Well, those are the love monkeys. Like that's for sure. Um, I just I'm just following social norms.
Do you think Uktabi orangutan is like the Hitch of the jungle? And he just like match made those two?
I don't know.
That's what's
Looks
going on there.
like it's King Louis, right? Like straight out of the Jungle Book, right? It, I mean, I guess I'm not very well versed in orangutans, but maybe they all look pretty similar. But I don't know. That's what I think of.
That's fair. That's fair.
Maybe we can get like a crossover between like Hitch and Jungle Book, where King Louis is Hitch. It's,
Ink it.
yeah,
Yeah.
sell it to Disney.
They could put it in the Lion King universe.
All right, I'll start paying attention to the game again.
Yeah, that's my bad. So yeah, so I played an Aura of Silence. Um, Past the turn. Looks like he taps his Wall of Blossoms to the one counter on Tangle Wire.
But he's gonna attack with a 2/2. He's excited. Oh, and he has Treetop Village, so
Yep.
yeah, this is like not perfect for you, I guess. Ooh, yeah. Oh, he does have Yavimaya there. All right, perfect.
Yes, he does. He's running at least two, I believe, if I remember the deck list from the picture. And yeah, it does feel real bad.
So, what do you need in this spot? Like, I guess Masticore could do some work. I mean, you don't have a ton of mana, but it would hold off his guys, and you could slowly shoot some stuff down.
Yeah, I mean, I think I may just want a Cataclysm.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
just
That,
loses so many permanents. Like, granted, he gets lands from the Elder, but it gets rid of the pressure.
yeah, and it does eliminate the threat of like Treetop Village too. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
like
and
maybe
he
he
can
keeps
kill
it,
him at
but
some point.
yeah.
I have the Mox Diamond, right? So it's like I have land tax, I have the diamond. How many
Well,
planes are in my graveyard?
I
One, two,
guess
three,
yeah. So you're getting score because obviously you
four, five.
can't get Cataclysm with Enlightened Tutor.
Yeah, and I already have. Yeah, so basically, there's three planes in my graveyard, four, five, six, seven, eight. So every planes in my deck is visible right now.
Mhm. All right. So you play a scroll rack and then you're passing the turn.
Yeah.
That was kind of free reign for Chris to do some damage to you. He could attack for one, two, three, four, seven.
Yeah, coming in.
Okay.
And I'm gonna get rid of these
Oh,
planes.
I guess we're not to damage yet. There might be a Swords of Plowshares, I guess, in the.
And I take and go to three.
Okay, you are taking it all. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, at this point, you pretty much need like Cataclysm. I mean, you do have scroll rack, so you get to shuffle. Okay, you get to get three lands. So
Yeah. I think I'm looking at my deck there too and just going like, all right, what are my outs here? Is it Cataclysm? Like, what am I hoping for?
I mean, your hand is a number of cards in it. All right, you're Mox Diamond right now.
Yeah, I was, yeah, because I scored like here again. I didn't have it in my hand.
What's the advantage of playing that first? Like, couldn't you scroll back for 2 more? Like, if you're planning on casting
No, that's a good question.
if you're
Playing this
planning
game.
on casting Cataclysm anyways, but
Yeah.
oh, okay, we got a Masticore. Okay, so does this hold off? Like, if he just attacks with everything, you shoot a Yavimaya Elder, block a Treetop Village, and take 2.
Correct.
Okay.
And I think for a second I was like, am I just dead?
Well, also you like it's likely that you could have drawn like a Swords of Plowshares as well. So you did scroll rack for a number of cards.
Yeah, so I go to shoot the Elder and he sacks it.
Okay.
To draw a card. Honestly, I think if there was one major takeaway I had from playing this deck, it's just that Masticore is so good. I think all the games that I won, it was because of Masticore.
All right. Land tax gets you 1 more planes. Right. You discard a remote farm. Your favorite land.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Spirit Mirror.
Here to save the day.
So how many times did you cast this card that like it was just like a not in conjunction with Cataclysm and it was just kind of a value 2/2? Did it ever kind of pull its weight in that aspect, or was it pretty underwhelming otherwise?
No. It was pretty underwhelming.
Did you get to destroy any reflections?
I didn't. I know that's surprising, but I did not get to destroy any reflections.
Maybe someone like pacifism to your one of yours. So, are there any played cards that would make you want to actually destroy that?
Reflection.
Yeah, to destroy one of your own reflections. Okay, yep, there's one. Right. Right, so he has a recurring nightmare. So is that problematic in any way? I guess he could be looping Yavimaya Elders. He could be looping
I don't think he has a
well
Spirit Monger in the graveyard.
looping the Utabi Orangutan is,
Yeah.
but it if you keep up 2 mana, I mean the Masticore will stay. And it's like I don't I mean I'm assuming he paid 5 because you still have the Aura of Silence in play.
Yeah, he did. And I just, in turn, I shoot his bird and his elder. So he still has a Wall of Blossoms in play.
Oh,
He doesn't have any other attackers at this point, which is
yeah.
good for me.
And Wall Blossom's not very good at holding off the Masticore. And we got a spirit too, so
Hey, all right. You feel that, Mike? The winds of change.
Source of Plowshares on the wall. Attack for 4.
Yeah, at this point, I don't even mess around a whole lot. I don't even want to give him the opportunity to block. I want to start getting in damage in as soon as possible, and I want to make sure that he also can't Recurring Nightmare back into play another creature.
I guess you have him at 9, but I don't know what he should be at. I guess maybe he tapped his lands for damage a couple times. I have not been paying attention. So he's at 9. I mean, that's basically a 2-turn clock, right? You could shoot down this birds and attack with the Masticore and the 2/2, right?
Yeah.
So Even though you're at one, I mean, there's a Tangle Wire in play, I guess, too. Wait, why are you swordsing a bird instead of shooting it? I'm confused. You like put a swords, but then also the bird is not exiled, so I don't know what happened. Do you remember?
No,
No.
I don't.
All right, Tangle Wire, we're tapping. Get a crash in for 6.
Yep.
Through pass, okay. So he pretty much needs Pernicious Deed, and even then, like the Masticore would be able to resist, or yeah, he wouldn't even be able to do it because it would cost 5 to play. So yeah, D doesn't even do it here. Ravenous Baloth, okay. Guess that keeps him alive.
Yep.
But you have 8 mana.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes.
If you shot it, he go to 7, you attack for 6. I guess it doesn't really change that much. Alright. So just the Master. Okay, they both get in. We'll block Masticore, I guess, and then sack it. I think he was at 2. I think he took a damage from the City of Brass. Oh, he's at 4. Yep. Okay. There's a Winter Orb. Ooh.
Yeah, that pretty much seals it.
Yeah, that's gonna make it tough. Okay, so looks like we're showing hand. It looked like I had a bunch of Spirit Mongers and Pernicious Deeds actually. So you were able to keep the Pernicious Deed at bay. So I guess that's kind of cool. I guess the Aura Silence really helped out there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay. As you chat, I'm going to jump back over to the deck list, and you can give a little bit of information on maybe deck list. Yeah, I guess you could talk about how your tournament went. Maybe now we'll reveal your performance.
So it didn't go well. This was the only match that I won.
Yeah.
I picked it so people could actually see how the deck is supposed to work because most of the other matches were pretty disjointed and probably not very fun to watch. But obviously, there are some problems and some tension in the deck. Kind of like I said earlier, not enough basics. Also, this tension between needing to play permanents for Smokestack, but not wanting to play too many so you can continue to trigger your land tax, but you also need the mana to run things out. So certainly, Fourth Mind Stone would be good, as you pointed out in the beginning. Um, but also, I think at the heart of things, it's probably just not a smokestack deck. I mean, I think if you wanted to run a mono white prison, you probably could. And if you wanted to run Armageddons and like instead of pink prison, you just run mono white and you run Armageddon, and then you continue with the kind of the similar package of Tangle Wires and Winter Orbs and Mox Diamonds and Tax Rack swords. I think there could be a deck there that could actually be decent. Um, I don't know if it's good enough, but certainly there could be.
Sure.
The only other thing I think that I might change would be to maybe run an alternate win condition. The core is really what won me these games, and it's the other games I obviously. I think there were some other matches where I did win some games, even though I didn't win the match. And Masticore is what won me those as well. So if that's your classic Peak Prison Black Vise and you want to throw that in there, great. If there are other cards that I don't know you can think of or that the viewers can think of that might fit in a mono white control shell, then certainly I'm all ears. But I do think that having a lower CMC card as a win, an alternate win con, so you don't have to go all in on Masticore would probably be advisable.
One card that's kind of interesting, I don't know how well it would actually play out, but you do have the option to like turn two morph Exalted Angel and then flip it up on turn three. But like you just go like planes, ancient two, morph, then planes, and just like flip it up. I don't know how often that will like get the job done because obviously you're spending a good amount of resources in that one card. But Exalted Angel is a card I could see that might fit into a deck like this.
Yeah, I think it might. It might just be a worse dreadnought, to be fair. But yeah, I think it certainly could be an option. I don't know if I would want to be all in on that as my win con, but maybe you run it in the board if there are certain matchups that you feel like it could be better against, whether that's mono red or um, I don't know other possibilities.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us and sharing your solitary victory with the Smokestacks deck. It's the one thing that's real unfortunate is that this deck can't do better because I have to say the name is pretty good. You have to admit there that the name.
So Mike is patting himself on the back here because Mike came up with the name.
Oh yeah,
So, but
yeah.
I will say, yeah, it didn't go well for me. 1 in 5, I think, is ties for the worst I've ever done in a monthly. But just to kind of echo, I think what we've been saying in the pre-modern monthly community more generally, and they just mentioned this on the pre-modcast, like, hey, I think I lost my first three and I didn't drop. And so if you're going to play in the monthlies or the spring flings or things like that, see them through because it really is, even though I was getting crushed, it is certainly a learning experience, but people do look forward to these games. And I had a lot of, really interesting commentary with folks and even some suggestions from folks on how to improve the deck. And so that's why we're here. Can't win them all. Sometimes you get crushed. But in the end, don't drop, don't ghost your opponents, stick with it. And you may eventually get that one win. But these, we do this for fun, and definitely if you're going to play, stick with it.
All right, cool. Well, I'm glad we got to experience this because I don't know. I was very excited when you played this deck, and
Sorry, I just yelled in the mic. I
um,
was too. I was so excited.
yeah, I mean, I knew it was probably going to be a little rougher on the edges, but just on paper, it felt powerful enough. But I don't know. Maybe someone can tweak it a bit, and maybe find a home of maybe performing a little bit better. But
Oh, I would love that.
the challenge to everyone else. So, but that will close things out for our commentary on our random Spring Fling match featuring a Smokestack deck, also featuring Flint. So I'd like to thank you for joining us and giving us some commentary and insight on your experience with the deck.
Yeah, it was fun. It's always fun to kind of co-commentate over matches with you, and especially if it was the one match that I won.
Yeah. All right. So want to thank everyone for watching, and until next time, take care.